Hello and welcome to the Front Row Back Row podcast, a show started by two physical therapy school classmates who sat in very different sections of the lecture hall. We cover topics that help you start, build, and grow your physical therapy practice with your hosts, Dr. Owen Campbell and Dr. Brian Wolf. Hello and welcome back again to the Front Row Back Row podcast. My name is Dr. Owen Campbell, owner of Simplify Motion Physical Therapy, and with me today, as always, is Dr. Brian Wolf, owner of Evolution Physical Therapy and Fitness in Connecticut and Long Island. How are we doing today, Brian?
I'm good, man. Good. How are you?
Good. I'm seeing a lot of rain out of my window in Phoenix. It's really weird, but we're surviving.
We got rain for like 3 days, so suck it up.
Yeah, it's been 2 hours.
Yeah. It'll be fun. You'll live.
I know. Well, you know, it's a lot for us. We really get excited for the rain. So today we wanted to talk about developing and designing a program for your patients, for your clients, and how to go about that. If some of you who follow me on Instagram will know that I just put out a brief little reel that said I wanted to bring in more golfers and I wanted to develop something that I thought was going to be, hey, great offer. I say free. I'm going to give you all this stuff. And I want to kind of make sure that it's something that I get good people from. And Brian and I have been kind of discussing it back and forth, and I think it was a really good topic for today's podcast.
Yep, totally. That was my thought process. I think the cool part is the motivation of like what you're doing, which is just chatting of like, let's talk about how to develop this, because I'm sure this is something that there's certain pitfalls that people can fix.
And I see it all the time, right? You see on Instagram different physical therapists offering a 5-person class for this or a workshop for that, and it must work because people do it and people keep doing it. And I'm new to all this, so I just threw something out there and hoping it sticks, but I'm sure there's a better way to do it than just hoping and praying. So we're going to talk about it today. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is really just coming up with the idea, right? So I love treating golfers. We're hitting kind of our down season here where it's going to be more summer, hot weather. And a lot of golfers do go into the gym, right? They spend that time to try and get better or stronger so that when it's nicer weather, they can get back out there. Or they go on vacation to golf. And I thought, man, this could be a good opportunity for me to help them. And when I say help them, I kind of figured out where's my why, right? Why do I want to do what I want to do? And it's because I see so many damn programs out there where it's just like, well, I'm a trainer for golf too, right? And really, I mean, yeah, okay, they do some squats and deadlifts for people who've never done it before. They get a little bit of power and they say they're a golf instructor, they're a golf fitness professional. And I was looking at it and I'd see patients and God, you do 3 or 4 things with them and they're pain free. So I was thinking, man, if I could just streamline my way of doing it to more people, it could be a great offer, right? So I put that one out there, and of course I said it was free because I thought that was going to make 1 million people come, but it's been 12 hours and I haven't had a single phone call, so now I'm freaking out. Brian, what do I do?
One is giving it more time than 12 hours, right? I mean, that's you guys keep
fine.
Right. Coming up with the idea, obviously it's a great idea. When I first saw the ad, I was like, this is awesome. But I think I was like the 4th or 5th person to see it, right? And so,
yeah.
When you think about the whole reason for why you're doing it in the first place is to help people and to help that process. And really what got us, we'll go through some of the different steps, but people just aren't sold on the program yet and don't know. And then the volume, we're meant to be very skeptical. That's just like who we are as humans. And so you chatted a little bit about that. I think just the sheer volume, you got to get in front of a lot more people than you think. And so, I think killing an ad that you don't know, because that's what that technically was. It's like an ad on like an organic post on Instagram.
Yeah.
I think the bigger thing is then, okay, what are the actual metrics of, how many impressions that needs to make before someone's like, okay, like, let me sign up for this. Let me actually click on it. Let me actually see what this thing's about.
So you're telling me I got to spend money on giving something away for free?
Yeah, probably.
Is basically what you're telling me.
Probably, which is crazy, right? And it's a reason, by the way, not to give stuff away for free.
Oh, thanks. Good. I've already put myself out there.
Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. I also think that what that post was advertising. I'm looking
Yeah.
for 5 golfers, to want to work with me for free. Five
Yeah.
golfers, right?
Yeah.
And so that itself could be anything, and we'll get to the fulfillment side of it. But the reality is, like, I actually joke with a lot of this stuff when you're designing a program is the actual fulfillment of the program is totally last. You like how
Yeah.
to actually, like, if a person signs up for free and you're giving them so much crazy value. I know we had chatted about, like, the 12-week program. Like, you can just give them 12 weeks of, like, on online programming. Like, here's something,
Yeah.
like, here's a sheet that I put together of things you're going to do for 12 weeks. And so, you know, something that you pay for has a certain amount of value. So we were
Yeah.
talking about this. The way this came up was we have a colleague that I'm working with to try and talk with workshops, and she was asking about prices, and I was like, look, if you sign up for a workshop that's $40, there are going to be people that don't show up, right? That will happen, and the reason being is because if there's a lot of that goes on, it means the price was too low. So the
Mm-hmm.
reality is, if I think about it, you and I are both married men. If I sign up for a
Mm-hmm.
workshop, it's $40, and I no show it, my wife's probably not going to care. But if I
Yeah.
spent $1,000 for that workshop and I didn't show up, my wife's gonna have some questions. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
I think when that process happens, that's the value. Free has a value, and value is time. But it also like, I also don't think you couldn't backtrack a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because free could be, hey, the free offer is I'm going to give you programming, but what I'm also looking for is I have this other program where you could do it with me in the gym, and it's
Yeah.
$100.
Okay.
You see what I'm
So
saying?
different. Well, and the nice thing is, like you said, not many people saw that, right? Outside of my friends and family, right?
Yeah,
So, because my social media following is nowhere near, thousands or whatever, right?
yeah,
So that's one side, right? And the other thing that I'm thinking, once I said, well, I'm paying to advertise something for free. Well, really, I mean, the main reason I did this is so that I could get a lot of data, right? Like, I want to make sure that it works. I want to ask these people, like, what price would you pay for this, right? And I want to make sure that I can develop a program and do that in my schedule, right?
yeah.
So there are some benefits that obviously I want to get, right? And if it works out and it's a really good program, then yeah, of course I'm going to be charging enough to make it worth it. But it's these things that I'm thinking of, with the marketing and with the offers, and how does somebody kind of find that sweet spot? Is it just trial and error, like what I'm doing, or is there kind of like any sort of rules to live by when you have a workshop? Like, how many people is too many? How few is not enough? What are some of those things when we're developing that offer that we want to kind of think about?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're thinking about developing, you said something interesting just there. It was like, I think when you're developing the offer and how you develop it, I think one of the things that's important here is, like, say you set up an offer, right? Like, yours was a 12-week offer. The
Mm-hmm.
problem with a 12-week offer is that's a long time. So one, you can only offer it 4 times a year, right? So
Yeah.
you're kind of locked into that. Now, the aspect of that offer, that program is, well, it's a 12-week program. We've kind of talked about how to design it so that you're only able to offer that. So maybe
Yeah.
meet once a week
Yeah.
and for an hour with all 5 guys showing up, because now it's repeatable. So
Yeah.
all this processes of developing an offer is math.
Yeah.
So if I've got, okay, $100. So if I want to make, I mean, this is what's kind of cool, right? Say you're like, hey, it's $40 a session for 12 weeks. You're talking about $480.
Mm-hmm.
$480 times 5 people, that's $2,500. Now
Yeah.
you made $2,500. So to spend, again, and for by the way, 12 hours of work in theory.
Mm-hmm.
So to run that advertising on a regular basis, like, that's a pretty solid design already right there.
Yeah.
You probably, you could probably increase the value by saying, all right, well, like, I could do, for 12 weeks at $480. If from that perspective, you're making at $40 a class, you're making $200 an hour. That's a pretty solid takeaway, right?
Yeah.
You could also go twice a week and make it $600. So, like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm going to make 30, so I'm going to make $150. Or maybe I open up to 7 golfers or 8 golfers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
So it is. There's a
and
little bit of trial and error to it, to be honest with you.
and that's what I've been looking at too. Is I'm thinking, you're the numbers you're saying with how much for a fitness class, right? Because from those numbers. But then also, if I can prove that it improves your club head speed, then you can start saying, okay, how much would you pay for a whole new set of irons to get 20 yards, right? How much would you pay for two brand new drivers, to get that extra 20 yards, right? So yeah, those are. I like what you're going with that, where you kind of have to do the math first, but in that's where it's part of me is just saying I should just like throw out a number right now, right?
Yeah.
Forget the free and just be like, hey man, let's go.
Here's a joke about free advertising. Is the thing about free advertising is there's ways to develop it for free, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's ways to do the sales pitch for free, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, we offer this free thing that you can do and do along with us, and like you can text me, or you can do it with me, and this is going to be actual price. I will tell you this: there's a way to create the sales pitch, which we'll get into on how to do it, because the reality is like price anchoring is a big piece of this, because it's a lot harder to go from free. Like I'll explain it to you right now psychologically. Right?
Yeah. I was gonna say, let's go down the road. Let's just say we got my 5 golfers. Stuff works out like I wanted. Now I got a program. I got something I can sell. What do I do now?
So now, so say you're selling it and you're trying to sell it. So you want 3 tiers. You always want 3 tiers of something that you're selling. And the reason I say that is because basically what can happen is there's the most expensive tier, there's the middle tier, and then there's the cheapest tier. You're always going to have most of them, just like a bell curve, like a normal bell curve. It's going to be most people buy the middle option. And depending on how many more you want of the other person to buy the cheaper option or the more expensive, you just slide the bell curve up or down. So what I mean by that is this. So say this program we're talking about, right? 12-week program that you're going to sell, right? And you're saying to come to there's 3 different tiers to it. And again, I'm just spitballing here. I would spend a little more time to plan this out.
Yeah.
But say we're going to make one of them free.
Okay.
12-week program, totally free. Because I'm trying to help get the club head speed piece, but I need you to be consistent with it. If you find that that's a free program, here it is. It's 12 weeks of programming, right? And it's we're going to meet. It's 12 weeks of programming that you're going to work on twice a week.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to come with me twice a week and work with me one-on-one, that's going to cost you charge $150, right? So 150 times 2, 300, 300 times 12, you're looking at $3,600. Is that math right? $3,600. So like that's like if you want to do this with me, it's $3,600. In fact, I could give you a 10% discount if you pay for it up front.
Yeah.
Right. But I know that's a lot. So we have this middle option that's, hey, here's the free program. Here's the $3,600. We have this option where if you come once a week and you come in a group with 5 other people, it's actually only $480.
Yeah.
So you see where now that $480 does not sound expensive, because what I've done is I've compared it against $3,600 versus if I'm like, hey, I got this free program that's $0, it's free, but you can also come and do it with us with a group and it's $480. All of a sudden that doesn't free to $480. I got to think about it.
Yeah.
3,600 to 480, it sounds better in your head. So it's like it's a psychological point of selling. So that's what it's called, price anchoring. That's a really good way to basically do sales where it can be really helpful. So that's the idea behind it.
No, and that makes a lot of sense too. And that's where I'm looking at. I didn't even think about the whole like offering, private one-on-one versus free online or free here's a PDF of what you should do for 12 weeks. But then I'm realizing that pretty much every gym I go to does that, right? They do their group classes, and then why are there no group classes at 10 o'clock to like 4 o'clock? Well, it's because that's where we're taking our premium customers for 1-hour sessions, personal trainers.
Well, and that's the irony. The irony is when it comes to like the fitness space or physical therapy, we push so much one-on-one. So when people are like, oh, I can't charge for this workshop on this group thing, I'm like, dude, you know what you charge for one-on-ones? Like, it's not like get out of it. It's a lot of this is mind trash, like head trash when you really think about it. So exactly when you think about it, it's like how do I just do it, like, and just do it right? I think the bigger problem is, look, we all do the same thing. Like kind of what you're saying, you're like my ad, like no one called me in 12 hours. It's just not working. It's like no, it just might take more time, So I think there's the process. It's like coming up with the idea, then developing that offer properly, right? Marketing the crap out of it. and
Yeah.
then making sure that you're good enough at sales, and then evaluating all of the metrics that got you there. Kind of we've chatted about in previous podcasts, right? It's like if you have the idea and you've developed your offer, your marketing, and you're getting people biting on it and coming and wanting to talk with you, but your sales suck, right? There's something you got to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
So it's looking at different metrics and seeing it, And we've
Uh,
talked. I think we've talked about this the 50-40, the 50-40-10 model. Have we talked about that? That like fifty
no,
percent.
maybe not.
Yeah, so 50% of the people that give you their information, right,
Yeah.
will actually schedule a time to come and talk to you. 40%
Okay.
of those people will actually show up, and
Okay.
then 10% of those people will actually buy from you.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So,
think we did talk about that.
sorry, so I think we call it the 50-40-50, meaning 50 of the people who show up, 50% should be your sales.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. And that's where I think I'm still not I haven't shot myself in the foot yet. I think that if I don't get a bunch of organic people coming in, even if it's just friends and family where I can workshop a few things, do that now for the next few months, and then in that time take the time to say, okay, I really got to think about my price anchoring. I got to think about my what I'm going to offer, what's the logistics of all this, and making sure that I speak with, because I'm doing this out of a gym, speak with the gym owner, make sure it's not too much off of their nose to be able to accommodate what I want to do in the gym. So those are the things that I think are kind of interesting problems, but I need people to know if they're true problems or if I just think they might be. Because even now, I mean, today I just learned the difference with like premium model versus not, and I wasn't even thinking about that 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think anytime you're thinking about like, when you think about what you're trying to do in terms of like how to get certain people to pay for certain things. I mean, I don't want to say like, hey, make sure that people pay for everything, because I think that it's great to have these free options. But I don't think that necessarily every free option has to be the identical thing to what you're paying.
Yeah.
So if you have a paid option, it doesn't make sense for the free thing to be the same, right? It
Hmm.
makes more sense for that to be, hey, this is our free program,
Yeah.
right? But if you want to work with me on the free program, it's this. And if you want it to be, one on one, it's that. If you want it to be in a group setting, which I would love to do, it's this.
Oh,
And I bet with that same offer that you had, if you presented that, I bet a bunch of people would be like, okay, I'll do the group thing.
yeah.
And actually, then there's a point where, say, a bunch of people start taking the free thing, you just take the free thing away, and you make it worth something,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you just bump the free piece. Imagine if now all of a sudden this is what happens. Imagine the value goes up. Hey, the free thing's $100,
Hmm.
right? Like you get my programming for $100,
Yeah.
or you can get you can get it with me with a group for 480.
Yeah.
More people are going to take the 480 because they're like,
Yeah.
well, there's more value there. Again, it comes
Yeah.
back to that magic word, man. You got more value, people are going to pay more for that.
So let's take it out of my unique problem right now, and let's just say if I'm a clinic owner, if I'm trying to develop, I want more butts in the seats, right? I want people to, well, that could be a reason to develop a program. Another reason could be figuring out your niche, right? Or at least like honing down into your niche, becoming that value for that small community. What would you say would be a good kind of plan of attack? Maybe not so much on the marketing and all that, but just getting a valuable program? Like, what is something that you really need to make sure people walk away with when they're doing it? Because, I mean, we're in healthcare, right? Like, some of the stuff, people might have a medical history that makes it so that they're not going to get 10 miles per hour on their club head speed or 20 more pounds on their bench or whatever. So I guess what are some of the roadblocks you've seen with some of the workshops that you've done, and some things that you might want to, if you were not just golf specific, but if you're just talking to somebody saying, what do I do? Like the employee that you're working with now, what are some of the big things that you would say, watch out for, or at least make sure that you do?
I think it's a couple different angles to that. I think one is, don't under plan, right? Make sure you
Okay.
plan this whole thing properly. But as far as it comes to, actually getting people in the program, don't sabotage yourself, right?
Okay.
Because while that's a goal for you in your head about, I want to get 10 miles an hour on my club head speed,
Yeah.
that might not be your five people's goals. And by the way, five people have different goals that all can be accomplished by the same program. All can still be in the same program working on that stuff together. So
Okay.
it's essentially, if one guy's like, I'm really into the data, I need to know that, or some guy's like, I just want to get more fit for golf, or some guy's like, I have back pain when I play golf, I'd love to not have that anymore, or somebody's like, you know what, I'd love to, just become a better golfer, so I know this would help me, and so I'm a newbie, so I want to do this, or someone who's
Yeah.
advanced, being like, I really want to fine tune my swing to a point where I can get an extra like yard or two. I don't need 10. I need 2 or 3 more extra yards. So
Yeah.
all the same identical program that you're running can do all those things. So
Yeah,
I
that's
think one
true.
of the self-limiting beliefs that people have is, I got to find. So now there's the sabotage in the sales. I got this program that I'm offering. There's 10 people who are interested, and all 10 can do well with this program. But
Yeah.
essentially, we're basically saying, oh, you're not. This is not the same fit of what I'm looking for. I'm looking to increase club head speed. Well, what does
Hmm.
increasing club head speed do? It increases impact on the ball. You're going to be, you're probably going to get more fit and flexible. You're probably going to have less pain. You're going to
Hmm.
be able to actually drive the ball further. So all of the things that you become a better golfer, like all the things that people want,
Yeah.
around the sport of golf, can all be accomplished by the same program. So I think when it comes to that, by the way, that also expands the marketing. You want to speak
Yeah.
to each one of those people.
Yeah.
And I think the good news is, in terms of, and then kind of last pitfall, or like what to look out for, is just because it wasn't perfect the first time doesn't mean you can't refine it and fix it
Mm.
again the next time. Because to your point about it is like, say like, hey, there's some things I would do different. That kind of goes to the fulfillment side. That's cool. Then like the next time you do it, like change it up a little bit. And then by the
Yeah.
way, remarket to these 5 other people. Hey, we can do it again, and I'm going to change it in this way, this way, this way. So you
Yeah.
want to people. I know a guy who does that here with his speaking school. I think I told you about speaking school, and that's like what I've watched is so many people take it over and over and over again, and that's because they're just like the added reps, the added the
Yeah.
accountability work with the guy. Like it's awesome. It's blowing up that way. It's cool.
So don't self sabotage. So don't only promise one thing. Realize that people might be coming to you for many different reasons, all surrounding that topic. So for me,
Listen,
it's
right?
golf. But yeah, that's right. And I mean, I think that goes right into your other point of know that every workshop is an evolution, right? And going in, maybe your initial offer might have been like, say if you're a pelvic health physical therapist, right? Your initial comment might have been towards like power lifters, but then you find out that 50-year-old male females with incontinence really want to do it. Well, okay, maybe we don't throw a bunch of weights around as much and we do this. So I think that not limiting yourself at the beginning and then kind of funneling down to what really works is a good idea.
I agree. I think something that you can also, one of my favorite things about different offers is offering something that's a bigger, higher ticket up front that then
Mm.
funnels into like some sort of subscription down. I think that's why
Okay.
it works so well. Some gyms do it backwards, where they offer like a program for free and funnel up. And so I
Yeah.
think it's actually better to offer something out of higher ticket and offer and funnel it down.
Ah,
Because
okay.
something that we talked about is more people are likely to funnel down than up. And
Oh,
so
okay.
that's why I think people struggle with like the free offers aren't working, and like then you get into all the math on churn and whatnot. I
Yeah.
think with programs like this, you can build really great programs, that are really fun that people
Yeah.
can get cooking on. So I think that's the aspect of it is like designing it, coming up with that idea, and then again, this is a process, right? That you're gonna
Mm.
have to constantly work on. So for the love of God, make sure it's something that you love to do. Because if it's like, you know what I mean? If you do, like this is one of
Yeah.
those things, if you do a balanced program and you don't want to do stuff with geriatric population, like God, I see so many PTs falling in that nightmare. Where
Yeah.
they're like, I don't want to do X, Y, and Z. I just want to do this, and it's like, okay, like then make sure, please, to develop something around there because then you're gonna just be pumped, whether it's free or not.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're gonna get something out of it because you're gonna be excited about
Yeah.
actually doing it. You know?
Well, that goes to the last kind of topic we wanted to hit is, where do you go if it's successful and if it's not? And honestly, if it's not successful and you're like, okay, I tried doing something I love and maybe I'll try something else. But if it's successful, you got to live with that.
Yeah.
Like, you got to keep doing something that you don't want to do because
Yeah.
I mean, you can't turn down, a successful program that people love. So I always think that's, you got to start with passion, right? You got to start with providing value around your passion. And if it really works, then stuff will flow from there. And then if it doesn't work, then at least you're passionate enough about it that you'll probably give it a second or third or fourth try and eventually hit on something.
Agreed. And I mean, if you think about the whole process, right, in terms of it will be successful or not, it'll be successful if you love it, right? Like if
Yeah.
you love it, it's going to be great because what's going to happen is people are going to word of mouth will explode. Like the program, you'll refine it, you'll want to work on it, you'll be like endless. Remember when you first started your business and you were texting me like I'm really having a like it reinvigorated you. You're like I want
Yeah.
to do this, I want to do that. Like that's the whole point. Like you get excited about the program, so you want to build more and more of the program. You want to learn more about it. You want to spend money to learn from people like us who can actually teach you how to do it. Right? You want to spend more money to actually work with other mentors who can help you. So it's just a matter of like, the whole process of it all is if the motivation is purely financial, it's a problem. You need to
Yeah.
make sure it's something you love to do because the quote would be find something you love to do and you'll learn to make money at it. It's not the other way around of like I'm going to make all this money and then I'm going to learn to love it. So that's not how that works.
Yeah.
You'll just
No,
learn to love
I,
it. Really.
I think that's a good point to end on. Really, I think that when it comes to really anything you do, you got to love it, and if you don't, it's going to be miserable. I think that it's also important to note that we are. I laugh because I just listened to a podcast where half of it was like a coaching, like oh god, like a coaching advertisement, and you just said people. Just I want to put out there that we are not advertising coaching, but we are very, very open to taking your questions, taking your comments. Learn from us. We want to be able to give out this information as much as we can. So we're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and just shoot us a comment, ask us a question. That way we can kind of dig into it a little bit. We're happy to help. Brian, you got anything to add to that?
No, that's great. That's great. And we are advertising a little bit. So if you want help, just let me know.
That was sly. That was sly. That was my soft sale, man.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. See, don't give away your stuff for free. We should be saying this is actually a coaching call.
That's
Your
right.
your Apple account will be charged now. No, I'm just kidding.
What do you know in the backlog you're barking up, you know?
Yeah, right. All right. Well, it has now divulged into nothing. So I will say goodbye, Brian. Have a good day, and we're
Thanks, man.
out.
See you, man.
See ya.